Have you ever found yourself stuck in a relationship where the more you were hurt, the harder it became to leave? Where apologies came fast, but the abuse came faster. And somehow, you kept going back. That's not love. That is a trauma bond. It's powerful, it's manipulative, and it's designed to make you question your own worth. Today, I want to talk to the person who keeps trying to explain their pain to someone who refuses to change. I want to talk to you, the survivor, because understanding what a trauma bond is might just be the beginning of your freedom. Let's get into it. How you guys doing? So I guess we should get right back to it. A trauma bond. What is a trauma bond? But more importantly, how are we discussing this all week? Because it's very important that you understand it, especially if you're coming to grips that you might actually be in a toxic or a narcissistic relationship. So let's break it down. Let's make it super simple. A trauma bond is a deep emotional attachment formed through cycles of abuse and reward, most often in toxic, manipulative, or narcissistic relationships. And check this out. Here's how it works. First, there's love bombing. They make you feel seen, special, and chosen. Then comes the control, the gaslighting, the subtle emotional harm. Gaslighting the fairies. I did a video on it. Go look it up. When you finally react, they flip the script. Now you're too emotional, you're too sensitive, or you're overreacting. But just when you're about to walk away, they soften up. See, it's a cycle, it's a give and take. You know, they give you a sweet moment, a good memory, a promise to change. And just like that, you are pulled back in. Your brain begins to crave those rare moments of kindness. And even though the pain outweighs the peace, you stay. Because deep down inside, you're hoping the version of them who loved you will come back. That's the trap. That right there is the trap. And you know what? It's not your fault. It definitely is not your fault. A lot of people, as they begin to heal, they think that this whole process is their fault. It's really not. Okay? They have found a way to control you by highs and lows. But enough about that. Let me get some more call for me, and then we'll jump over into the next part of this. So why does it feel so hard to leave? I mean, you know what's going on deep down inside. Why? Well, the trauma bond plays with the nervous system. It creates an addiction, not to the person, but to the cycle. You become chemically hooked on the hope. Dopamine during the highs, cortisol during the lows. And your body gets used to surviving instead of thriving. You know, they may isolate you from your support system, and they do this a lot, so that they can work their, evil magic on you. Convince you you're lucky to have them, or tell you that no one else would understand you like they do. It's not just manipulation, it's programming. But here's the truth. You were never the problem. You were responding to emotional warfare with human survival. You get locked into this whole concept of this is the only way that you're going to be able to get through. And then, of course, you're gambling on their potential. I've said that so many times. It's crazy how we gamble on the potential, the hope that that person will return to the person that we met in the beginning. It's kind of nefarious. Okay, so this is the most important part, breaking the bond. How do you break free? How do you get free from this, mental trap? First, you got to name it. You call it what it is. It's a trauma bond, okay? Second, you create space, whether physical, emotional, or digital. Distance begins to give you clarity. Third, you rebuild your inner voice, because somewhere in that relationship, your voice got silenced. Think about that for a second. This is the part where healing begins. You learn to trust yourself again, to make decisions that protect your peace, to stop begging for breadcrumbs of love, because that's all they're giving you, and start nourishing your own soul. You don't owe anyone your silence. You don't owe your abuser another chance. You owe you the life you were always meant to live. And I'm going to tell you something. It's not really easy. A lot of people have actually equated the whole thing of breaking a trauma bond than being worse than breaking free from an illicit substance. Okay, it's very hard because depending on how long you've been in the relationship, the narcissist has found ways to reprogram your mind, to make you think that they are everything. And they do this because, once again, they need to fill that void within themselves. But there is hope. Just follow those steps. Call it what it is. This isn't love. This is a trauma bond. Okay? I'm more addicted to the chaos than the feelings of a normal relationship. And you've got to create that space. I know it gets hard. You start thinking about the person. You start going, to places that you used to frequent together. And those little breadcrumbs of hope, they seem to surface at like the worst times, just when you think you're breaking free, but you can do it. You can do it. I'm going to do another video just outlining some of the steps that I took to break free, to come to understand like, hey, listen, I was a whole lot better than this before I met this person. What changed? What was the factor that made me feel this way? Now, the finger just kept on pointing to them, and I just had to say, hey, listen, let me call this what it is. This is not real love. This is not a real relationship. This is actually a trauma bond. Hey, I got to close this out. I really got to close this out.
You'll regret how you treated me.
Okay, I'm going to be honest. I didn't really have to go any place to finish this out. I needed more coffee. I really did. I did the coffee thing all freaking day long. Anywho, if this touched you, if this touched something in you, you are not alone. There's power in naming your pain. There is healing in your future. And there is love that doesn't hurt. Always remember that. Stay powerful. Stay free. And when you're ready, come home to yourself. I say this often. There was something that was so amazing inside of you before you met this person, before this person turned your life upside down into what I like to call a complete ish show. There is something great inside of you. Stop focusing on them. Stop focusing on those breadcrumbs of hope. What I need you to focus on is reclaiming the greatness that is within you. And I'm going to tell you, the way this universe works, especially for those that are chosen, is someone will come along that will actually, with all of their heart, give you the love that you deserve. Thanks for joining me right here. Minister Robinson, Church of Real Talk. Love you guys.